On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, the college football landscape has erupted. Stay tuned. Episode 124 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how you doing?
I am doing swell, as always. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's been a very busy weekend, especially in the college football landscape. We're going to be talking a lot of college football this episode, but we are going to be talking some NFL as well to end the show. So it's a little bit of a mix. Wasn't really too, at least my end, I wasn't really too interested in doing a double episode this week. So I figured let's just cram everything in one.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that.
And if you're watching the YouTube video, you see I just moved my drink. Shout out to Andrew and Riley. This was a birthday gift. So I figured, I have to drink it. If it's 9% alcohol, that's too bad. I have to, right?
Yeah, you have to drink it.
And
it's the worst.
And then right here, I don't know if the camera can catch it, but we got some props here in the back too. I don't know if that's the final spot we're going to have them, but there's going to be some movement, some more props coming in and everything like that. So it's going to be a good time over here on the old YouTubes. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube yet, make sure to do that. But for today's episode, going to be going over a bunch of college football movement. We got moving and shaking in the coaching area. We've got some transfer portal news. We also got to be looking at the new rankings that the College Football Playoff Committee has put out. Also going to be talking about that big game with Michigan and Ohio State. So much to talk about. Excuse me. And then we move into the NFL stuff. So I know you're excited for this college stuff, so let's get it started, yeah?
Hell yeah.
We'll start with the coaching. We talked about 2 episodes ago. You might have missed us on Thanksgiving when it come out with an episode. It's been 1 week since then, at least from when you're watching, so hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. But we talked about how Mel Tucker, there was a rumored deal, 10 years, $95 million. It officially went through, what was it?
A couple days ago.
Yeah, Sunday.
I don't remember the exact day. I don't know. I don't remember the exact day.
I think it was after Thanksgiving, though.
I want to say so as well.
No, actually it wasn't, because I remember. No, actually, I think that's right. I was trying to think if he signed it before OSU. He did not. Anyways.
The rumors came out before the OSU game.
Yes, but he did not sign before that. Mel Tucker, 10 years, $95 million. We talked about this already. Michigan State needs to be that number 2 now, blah, 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 yada, yada. Let's now go over to James Franklin with Penn State. He signed a 10-year deal with a $75 million base salary. He's got some bonuses and stuff worked in, but when you're looking at the base, it's 7.5 a year. I know you, not the biggest fan of James Franklin. What do you think about the deal overall, though?
Yeah, I'm just not. I just don't think he does much. He's fine. It's really about it. You want a coach at a big program like that can, recruit and pull the extra 5-star each year and can, like really big brain in games and come up with the plays to help you win. But I just don't think James Franklin's that dude. Penn State just gets the average recruits they always get under him. Nothing special. They don't pull out anything truly amazing. I don't really think too often. I don't think he's worth $7.5 million a year. That's how the numbers work out. I really don't see it. But not like he's a bad coach. I don't know. I feel like he'd be. I don't know. I feel like I would want to offer him like $5 million a year max.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that signing meant USC and LSU, the top 2 candidates were gone now. So what had to happen for them to fill? Well, we got Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame for LSU, 9 years, $95 million, and that officially, this probably will get overturned here in a couple days or so when Lincoln Riley's contract comes out. But as of right now, officially, Brian Kelly is the highest paid coach on an annual basis, 9 years, $95 million. That puts him over $10 million a year. We talked about it in our last episode that what's his name? Nick Saban. He's only at like 9.875. So right now, Brian Kelly, highest paid coach.
What a loser. What a loser. Leaving your team as they have a chance to make the college football playoffs and go to a legitimate bowl game. What a loser.
And I don't know if you watched the selection show today, but the selection committee guy that they always interview, he came out and said, as of right now, we took Notre Dame as they were with Brian Kelly and everything. But when it comes to our final rankings, we're going to take into account that Brian Kelly wasn't there. So let's say there's some moving and some shaking within that top four, and Notre Dame, who is currently, I think, sixth, they have a chance to get up there. College Playoff Committee might go, you know what, let's just put Ohio State, who's currently 7, instead of Notre Dame because they don't have their coach.
Yeah, it's legitimately possible, and that sucks for those players. It does. But Brian Kelly was always known to kind of be a loser. Did you see that tweet that I sent to you earlier about how Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur were grad assistants for him at Central Michigan? They thought they were coming over for like a staff party, but they show up and he made them shovel snow in valet cars all night.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're grad assistants. I don't care if they're interns. They're part of your staff. Yeah, you make them do, extra work and stuff when they're at the rink, or like that's how I view the rink because I was in terms of hockey teams. But when they're at the field, when they're around the team, stuff like that, yeah, like they do some kind of random grunt work, annoying stuff. That's just kind of what you do. But when a team party like that, you're making them work as free servants. Like no, I am so unabout that. That's garbage.
And one of my family members has a story with Brian Kelly.
Oh, let's hear it.
I don't remember if I told you or not, but my uncle, very good football player, only played 2 years over at Chip Valley, still is like top 3 for every receiving record.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly, at the time, I think he was with CMU, or maybe he was Ferris, whatever it was reaching out to my uncle to, see what's up, do a little recruiting and everything. My uncle didn't show up, so they're like, yeah, let's just reschedule, whatever. And so my uncle showed up with his dad, and Brian Kelly blew them off for the reschedule.
Oh, so my God, that's fine.
Brian Kelly's an asshole, but whatever.
Well, your uncle should have blown him off in the first place, though, as well.
I agree.
Brutal.
All right, well, that's it for Brian Kelly going over to LSU. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if Brian Kelly is the guy to turn that team around, but
I don't think so at all.
Then we go over to Lincoln Riley. He is heading over to USC. This is what blew up everything. Mm-hmm. This was a guy that I did not think would be leaving Oklahoma anytime soon. And if he was leaving Oklahoma, it would be to go to the NFL. That was my assumption. Not the case. He's going over to USC. The day before he took the USC job, there was an interview, and he said, I can promise you I am not the new head coach at LSU.
He wasn't lying.
No, he was not. But he's leaving nonetheless, going to USC. We got some terms here. Robert Hefner, he's tweeting out, he said this isn't confirmed, but it's the best he could do. Looking at $110 million on the contract. USC buying both of Lincoln Riley's homes in Norman for $500,000 over asking price. So $1 million bonus there. Buying him a $6 million home in LA, and then unlimited use of the private jet 24/7 for his family.
That's a $150 million contract right there. That's not 110, that's 150 at least. This is going to be a 10-year contract. He's going to make $11 million a year. He's going to be the highest paid NFL or college football coach, excuse me. Crazy. Just because he's afraid to go to the SEC, he gets to go to USC and get this contract. Like, that's the reason he left Oklahoma. There's no other reason other than he knows he's going to be fourth fiddle at best in the SEC. Like, am I wrong?
No, I mean, we see Texas and Oklahoma going to be heading to the SEC very soon here. So who would you, I mean, it's just straight up, like even everyone here watching, who would you rather verse? Who would you rather face every single year? Georgia and Alabama or Oregon and Utah? Yeah,
I mean, there's an obvious answer. Like, yeah, you're going to go there. But like that football's a joke out there. We all know it's a joke out there. USC, sure, you can say, oh, USC's going to be back. That's not that hard in that, like, in that conference. All you need is to get the California recruits to stay home. Like you just get a small chunk of them to stay home. And all of a sudden you're just a powerhouse. And then you show up when you play these cross-conference games and you get worked. Like, it's going to happen.
I agree that you need to keep the California kids home. I disagree that it's not going to be like a hard thing, or they're not going to be like. I think they're going to be a very competitive team when it comes to the playoffs.
Wait,
like, give it 3-4 years. Yeah, there's a little gnat. I don't know what it is. I tried getting that before, but so yeah, like I think they're going to be very competitive in 3 or 4 years if they can get the right recruits in. This is going to be the USC we saw in the beginning of the 2000s.
He's getting a lot of same, like it'll be the same type of guys he was getting from Oklahoma with a couple of differences. Like really, like I mean, we've already seen like 4 or 5 Oklahoma guys decommit, and Malachi, what the hell's his last name?
The 5-star quarterback.
Yeah, he already committed to USC.
Yep.
For example, it's gonna be it's still gonna be his team. Like it's not gonna be too much different than what he does at Oklahoma. So like it's gonna be the same type of thing. And I always think Oklahoma's a pretty fraudulent team that when it shows up to like needing to show up in like the big moments, like show up in college football playoff type games, like I will always take whoever they're playing against. I think it's going to be the same thing for USC until they can prove me wrong.
Malachi Nelson, that is.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought Oklahoma's biggest problem was always the defense. The one thing I found strange, Lincoln Riley bringing the defensive coordinator over to USC with him. Was that the best decision? I don't really know. But I am very excited because I think USC is one of those brands, such as Texas, such as Michigan and Michigan State, where they were huge brands at one point, and recently they've just kind of died down a little bit. Really, every brand out there besides Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State have really died down. It's just been, a couple of top-heavy dogs. So I'm really excited to see the revival of some of these great programs. We got Mel Tucker over here at Michigan State. We've got Lincoln Riley now over at USC. I'm still hopeful for Texas. I know a lot of people are already calling for, what's his name's head?
Sarkisian.
Yep, Steve Sarkisian. And then Michigan just beat Ohio State. So this could be a chance. There could be a legitimate chance that in the next 3 years, all of these brands that seem to disappear lately are now back up and running.
If Michigan wins on Saturday, Jim Harbaugh is going to have that job until he decides he wants to retire. You know that, right?
Which is insane because, think about it after the Michigan State loss. The narrative was, yet again, Jim Harbaugh being able to beat the teams he should, but when it comes to playing the big rival Ohio State or Michigan State or a top 10 ranked team, he can't get the job done. It's time for him to go. This is it. This is the last season. He beats Ohio State. Everything changed.
I'm not sold on him still. I'm still very much like he finally did it. Whoop-de-doo. This isn't a saving grace for him. He's like, if he wants to win my trust back, like I had when his first 2-3 years with Michigan, he needs to win against Iowa, show up in the college football playoff. You're going to be outmatched unless you're playing Cincinnati. Literally, no matter who else you play, you're going to be outmatched unless you're playing Cincinnati. So to show up, at least play competitive. If you get a win, then I'm in. I'm back in on you, and I trust you going forward because this is honestly one of his lesser talented Michigan teams. This might be his worst Michigan team in terms of just true talent, but he's getting it done. So maybe he finally figured it out. He brought in different coordinators. There's a whole different staff. So maybe things are finally figured out. I need to see another year of this type of shenanigans before I really want to, go in on that. I know we're jumping the gun here. I know you had Michigan, Ohio State game later on, but regardless, it's just on my mind right now, so I wanted to say it. But he's really not done enough to even just make me feel very confident about him being here.
You don't think Michigan can match up with Oklahoma State?
With Oklahoma State?
Yeah,
I think they can, but I really don't think they're getting in.
So for me, as a Michigan State alum, likes to see Michigan or Michigan State have some success. If Michigan State can't have it, let it be Michigan. I honestly think that if Georgia beats Alabama, and then your playoff is Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State, Michigan, Georgia should be the final.
Oh, in that case, yeah, especially if they're playing Cincinnati,
or even if it's flipped, I think they still should.
I still think it should be Oklahoma State, but I really I don't know. I got a feeling Baylor's winning that game against Oklahoma State.
Good.
That's just my feeling. So that throws even more. That puts. I don't even know what that does for the playoffs at that point. If Georgia wins, they might keep Bama in at that point.
Bring all of the chaos.
Not Michigan losing.
You're not gonna like
Michigan
that.
will win, and then everything else can be chaotic.
If Iowa beats Michigan, Baylor beats Oklahoma State,
Bama beats Georgia.
No, Georgia beats Bama. Just so much chaos because what do you do with everyone? Is it then Notre Dame and Ohio State in? Or does Baylor somehow get in there? Like, what happens?
I just want to say, though,
Chaos.
if Bama did beat Georgia and then they have to rematch literally the next week as like seeds 2 and 3, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. It wouldn't be the next week. It would be like the next matchup. But you know what I mean? That would still be awesome.
Yeah. I think the game's going to be great no matter what. So,
yeah.
2 great games would be awesome, especially if we're talking about all this chaos. If the college football playoff decides there's no Kelly, so we can't put Notre Dame in anymore. Now what do you do?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's just crazy.
Like, who's at number 7 in the
number
rankings?
7's Ohio State.
Who's at number 8?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss doesn't have to play in a conference championship game, do they?
No, because they're in the SEC.
They might luck out. If that chaos were to happen, Ole Miss literally might luck out just to lose by 100 in the college football playoffs.
I honestly think that even if Bama loses, they'll still put Bama in over Ole Miss.
You would
all
have
that
to.
chaos
Like,
happens.
you would have to, because like it is so clear that Bama's a much better team than Ole Miss is. Like it's not even a thought.
Craziness. Going to be exciting for sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be really exciting.
After this week, we'll know. We'll get back to you on what happens and give you all of our thoughts. But going back to the coaching thing, now that Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly have both left, who fills the OU and Notre Dame jobs? Well, the number one rumor that came out immediately when Lincoln Riley left was Cliff Kingsbury. He's coming back to Oklahoma.
No.
Not the case.
And then I saw it as well for like, not for just the Oakland job, for the Notre Dame job as well. Like, I saw literally today that Cliff Kingsbury's in the running for the Notre Dame job. Like, no, he's not. Shut up.
I think if Cliff Kingsbury, who I think he had the head coaching job of USC, did he not? He had the head coaching job of, I believe, USC, and then he was like, you know what, actually, I'm going to go be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He just brushed them off.
Maybe something like that happened.
Yeah. Maybe he was going to be the OC of USC. I don't remember. Let me look it up. Was brought to USC as a splashy hire as the team's new offensive coordinator. Okay.
And then he went for the head coaching job in the NFL?
Yes.
What a weird transition.
Offensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, USC, there for like 3 days, head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, you got to take that job. What a weird transition.
I remember that offseason where like Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator would be really cool in the NFL. Head coach.
Yeah. Weird.
But yeah, so if he blows off the offensive coordinator position for USC to go grab a great NFL spot and to be in one of the best positions an NFL coach can be right now, just to give that away now to go to Oklahoma or Notre Dame, that'd be the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
So I think we can put the stamp on it that it's not going to happen. But if for some reason it does, this just falls on the, I don't know, the brain of Cliff Kingsbury, because it would make no sense.
Yeah.
Next up, Chase's favorite coach in the NFL, Urban Meyer. He has been hinted that he might be taking one of these jobs.
Take him. Take it.
Urban Meyer came out today and said he's not going to be taking any of them. He's completely committed to rebuilding this Jags team.
Okay, but every college coach says that before they leave.
Right. So it still could be a thing, but I just wanted to put in there.
Notre Dame. Please. His wife was quoted as saying Notre Dame was his dream job. It's open, and they will pay handsomely. Leave. Get out.
Nah.
Get out.
We all know
Urban.
The root to all the problems in Jacksonville right now is Trevor Lawrence. He sucks.
The root of all problems is that Urban Meyer's like, oh, you're a good football player? How about I just crush your abilities and not use you in the right way? Oh, James Robinson, you're a legitimate top 10 running back in the league?
Slow.
Let's run Carlos Hyde.
He's slow too.
Carlos Hyde sucks. Laviska Shenault, I'm going to use you in this creative package.
Slow.
I'm going to come out and say we're going to use you very creatively. They gave him one creative play and then just went back to his old role immediately.
Their team overall is just not good enough. They don't have any speed. They're probably the slowest team in the NFL right
They
now.
are a slower team, but it's still, like, Laviska Shenault is like, he's a power back that plays receiver. Like, he's a guy that you can use in a creative way, and he's still gonna get like borderline Derrick Henry yards after type of contact. Like, not like those high, but like he's going to be that type of player.
Just compare him to Cordell Patterson.
Better than Cordell Patterson, though. He legitimately is better.
Have you seen Patterson this year?
Yeah, it only took him 9 years.
He was on the Bears.
Okay, whoop-de-duck.
And other
whoop-de-duck, who gives
teams,
a cluck.
right?
Yeah, but like it just like he's not using players in the right way, like by any means. Just James Robinson is just so much clearly better than those running backs, and the fact that you don't use them that way, it really doesn't make sense. Like it's so obvious. I don't know how any coach could miss that.
I want to look at James Robinson's numbers because I remember seeing like 4 or 5 weeks ago, Urban Meyer came out and said that they're going to start using James Robinson a lot more. So I want to see what they've done.
I don't know if it was last week before, but I looked at halftime. He had 5 carries.
So back on Halloween, he only had 4 carries. But
like, what are we doing here?
The 14th, he had 12 for 57. The 21st, he had 12 for only 29. And then this past week, he had 17 for 86.
That's a good rushing line. That's a very respectable rushing line right there.
Okay, so you shouldn't be mad.
Like he's like fine. He had it for the like his yardage, like the 12 carries, like the 4 carry, like come on.
Yeah, but also you do have to think they're down in every single game.
I know, but like Trevor Lawrence used the hell out of ETN. I know they're different like players, and like they brought ETN to try to be that type of player because like that obviously worked in college. Then ETN gets hurt, but Robinson is a very capable receiving back. You're not gonna be able to use him as much in space and his speed, but like you still got like Lawrence has to look at the checkdowns, and Urban Meyer's got to encourage that because like he can get you 9 yards on a catch like easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get James Robinson 60 catches on the year, legitimately.
Robinson's been injured?
I don't know. I don't think he might have missed like a game, but he's been like, been just like, I know he gets like dinged up in games and has been playing a little bit injured.
Because I see here he goes from week 6 to week 8 to week 10. So one could be a bye and one a missed game from injury, but yeah, not on here for at least 1 week. But yeah, I mean, back to the Urban Meyer situation going to the college, same thing. It'd be stupid for him to leave for college.
It would. I'm sick of him. I don't like Urban Meyer. I never liked Urban Meyer.
That's fine. Next up, let's talk about Luke Fickle, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. Could be a nice job for him to go to OU or Notre Dame.
This is the most obvious Notre Dame hire of all the names. He's going to Notre Dame. I will put money on it, but I don't want him to. I want him to stay in Cincinnati. They're on the verge of maybe they can like be a legitimate Power 5 school that has earned, or a Group of 5 school that has earned this national recognition and deserves this contention year in, year out. And to see them just leave when they're right here, finally getting ready to take that, take hold of that would just hurt me on the inside.
One thing I've seen is that Marcus Freeman, he's currently the defensive coordinator over at Notre Dame. Maybe they do a little flip-flop. Marcus Freeman goes over to Cincinnati, Luke Fickle on his way to Notre Dame. I wouldn't mind that at all. I think Marcus Freeman needs to have that chance to be an actual head coach at the college football level. Luke Fickle, there's not much more he can do in Cincinnati because he's had undefeated seasons. He just hasn't been able to have that chance to go any higher because the college football landscape has kept him from that. This year, there's that possibility. We'll see what happens. I think going to Notre Dame would be much better than staying in Cincinnati.
Like, it obviously would be, but I want to see Cincinnati continue to have success, and if he moves on, I don't know if they do. He's clearly the reason they're having that success. Then
we look at Matt Campbell. He's the head coach of Iowa State. I don't know if you saw the video of Matt Campbell recently. It was on senior day. He was in tears with saying goodbye to his seniors and everything, and it was a cool moment for him. Like, the guy has been pretty good at Iowa State, and to see his top guys, his seniors, leave, that's got to be emotional. He's been in the room with them for 3-4 years now, so good for him on having, a successful year, but this could be another guy up for that OU job.
You know what would have been better? If he would have had a more successful year, like we thought of him as, possible sleepers for first overall, or not first overall, for the top team in the nation, national champions, and then they just flop.
Yeah.
But he is a hell of a coach. He definitely deserves looks. He was someone that I've had discussions with people about before. If if Harbaugh were to get canned, this would be a guy that they would hope that be interested in that job. So I think he's bound to take the next step of a legitimate, coaching candidate like candidacy. Maybe Oklahoma's that fit, because I really don't have anybody in my mind who's like a true fit for Oklahoma right now. So maybe he's that dude.
And lastly, Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator for the Clemson Tigers. He is also linked to Oklahoma. There seems to be a connection there that everyone in Oklahoma would love to see him in town, and he would like that as well. So that could be another possibility. I just feel like him next to Dabo is such a cemented image in my mind, though, that like it'd be weird.
It'd be very weird.
So
I saw something about Bill O'Brien, too, randomly floating on Twitter, but maybe he's looking at one of these jobs. That'd be so weird.
Yuck.
That'd be so weird.
Especially because we know Bill O'Brien, as a coach, decent in the NFL, but once he took over the personnel, horrid.
Oh, bad. So imagine him in charge of recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Big pass. All right, so those are the coaches we wanted to look at for possible fills for the OU and Notre Dame jobs. Let's now go over to the transfer portal. We've seen some guys already entering, some guys already committing to other schools. Some of the notable names being Zach Evans out of TCU, Spencer Rattler out of Oklahoma, obviously, Eli Ricks coming from LSU. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, Jaden Hazelwood, and then Jalen Berger. He was a 4-star running back, went in the transfer portal from Wisconsin, already committed to Michigan State.
So the thing with him, it was a weird situation. He got dismissed from Wisconsin's team, but apparently Mel Tucker hired 2 people very close with Wisconsin in their recruiting like class. So if they gave him the go ahead, whatever he got kicked off the team for probably isn't too major of a concern, since they obviously were working with this guy closely. So that's a good grab right there. That's a talented football player.
Next Kenneth Walker? No one's gonna be the next Kenneth Walker.
And poor Kenneth Walker, Ohio State killed his Heisman hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
Mel Tucker.
Well, yeah, the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're losing so much at that point. You don't want to, like, this guy was playing kind of hurt. You don't want to hurt him more. But at that point, you're losing so much. Just let him run and let him keep up those stats just to keep the Heisman hopes alive, because they died that game and there was no chance of revival.
Yeah. And so all of these guys that we just mentioned all have at least 1 year of eligibility, except I think Berger has at least 2 years.
Yeah.
I think he's either a redshirt freshman or a sophomore or something like that. So I know he's got up to 4 years of eligibility, but he's going to be around for at least 2 years before the draft comes and grabs him.
I don't know where Jahmyr Gibbs is going to end up, but I'm a big fan of his game. I love what he does. He is a smaller guy, but he has like the tools to be all-purpose and is a really great receiver of the backfield. So if he can go somewhere that can properly utilize him, like if he can be used how ETN was his last year at Clemson, wherever he goes, like he is going to like fight to be like the number one, like borderline number one fantasy like RB in that class. Because if he has 100 catches, which is a lot in college football for a running back, but I genuinely don't think it's impossible with his talent. Like he's gonna go high in the NFL draft. He's gonna get used, and like the kid's so good. I can't wait for him to like fully be unleashed somewhere. Running
back out of Georgia Tech, and I saw comparisons to Aaron Jones.
100%.
Good little player.
100%.
Good little player there in
Aaron Jones, but a better receiver, in my opinion.
There you go.
That's a good football player.
All right, Michigan versus Ohio State. This was the moment everyone's been waiting for. He did it. He finally did it. After, what was it, 6 or 7 games?
Years. So 7. 6 games, 7 years. But my biggest takeaway from this game is I found out that Michigan fight song is Hail, Hail to Michigan's champions of the West, not champions of the world.
Interesting. Especially because they're kind of in the East.
But it's like the Western, like we're the Western part of the world is how it's looked at. So that's why I came into the West. But like that rocked my soul when I found that out. That was the biggest takeaway of this whole weekend. But anyway.
I didn't care because who needs to know Michigan's fight song?
Oh my God. But Michigan exposed Ohio State's defense as a bunch of frauds. Fraud Ohio State. A bunch of losers. Ryan Day. No. Sorry. I couldn't think of anything for that. But yeah, screw you, Ryan Day. We want to hang 100 on everyone we play. Or how about, Hassan Haskins hangs 5 touchdowns in your face, buddy. Kick rocks. Man, he looked like an NFL back in that game.
Mm-hmm.
He looked good. I was happy. I'm sure you were happy. I saw that I think it was the Barcelona MSU account was tweeting at Ohio State to win against Michigan. Like, who the fuck does that? Like that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Who, other than Ohio State fans, would ever root for Ohio State to win in any case? Like, literally.
Ohio State versus Alabama. I think I might go Ohio State.
I still might root Alabama just because I'm sick of Ohio State's shit.
Yeah, but you're the guy who preaches. You got to root for the Big Ten no matter what.
You do, except for Ohio State. They don't count.
Oh, Alabama.
I don't care. I
like Alabama?
I like Alabama more than Ohio State.
Wow. He loves Alabama. Big Alabama guy over here.
Yeah, I am very happy that Michigan was able to come out with this win. Ohio State is looking, from the outside, and maybe they can sneak into the playoffs at some point if things go crazy. But at 2 losses, it's definitely unlikely. It really just shows that Ohio State, what they did all year when they were winning games, they got out to an early lead, and you felt obligated to throw the ball. Whereas Michigan was able to run the ball and expose how bad the run defense really is.
Yeah.
If Michigan State was able to even get the run game going, like with how Kenneth Walker's played this year, they probably would have won that game based on what we saw in the Michigan game. Honestly, do you disagree?
I don't know if they win.
It would have been
it's at least close.
Very close game, not a 49-point difference.
Yeah, agreed.
Like they couldn't stop us on Haskins, who was nothing special as a running back, honestly.
And I gotta say, I think I tweeted it out. Maybe I didn't, but I was rooting for Michigan in this one, and I was very happy for everyone in the state of Michigan, except for the arrogant Michigan fans that are just so damn annoying. And when Michigan State lost to Ohio State, they're like, the weather sucks. Like, those kind of people,
yeah,
those are the worst. I'm not happy for you. But everyone else, the Michigan fans that were rooting for Michigan State against Ohio State, I'm happy for you. So, and then we also saw Oklahoma State. They took down Oklahoma. Very, end of the game, intense moment. Oklahoma State able to pull it out, though. And that means when we look at this upcoming week of games, there's going to be some big implications, including Michigan versus Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. It should have been Michigan versus Wisconsin. However, Wisconsin lost to Minnesota, pushing Iowa into this game. In my opinion, much scarier to go up against this Iowa defense than Wisconsin.
Big time. I'm worried about this game.
Mm-hmm.
This is Michigan would have worked Wisconsin. They beat them earlier in the year. They would have worked them this time. But Iowa, I don't feel right about this.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, that's for sure. We also see Oklahoma State and Baylor. They are the noon game on Saturday. This will determine if Oklahoma State, well, I guess it won't determine it because Alabama would have to lose. I think if Oklahoma State wins and Georgia loses, I think Georgia still gets in over Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they do.
But if Oklahoma State can win this, very good chance that they could make their way into that top 4. If not, they're obviously out. We've got Oregon versus Utah, not really big implications in that one, but it's a Friday game. Who doesn't like a good game on Friday?
Yeah, I can't complain.
And then you got Georgia, Alabama, huge implications, Houston at Cincinnati. Those are the other 2 games that will have big implications. If Cincinnati loses to Houston, they're out. If Georgia loses to Bama, both stay in. If Bama loses to Georgia, Bama's out.
If Cincinnati loses to Houston, I'm off the Cincinnati train. I'm off the Luke Fickle train. I'm done.
Boy.
That would be embarrassing.
I don't know how unlikely it is. Yeah, I don't know how unlikely that is that Houston can beat Cincinnati. So I think it could be close. So you'd be off the Luke Fickle train. That'd be unfortunate, but
it would be.
Either or, we're gonna see some craziness this weekend. The playoffs will be determined. If you had to take a stab at it right now, what are your final playoffs looking like?
I'm gonna go off of, I even though I have a bad feeling about Iowa, Michigan, I'm still go off what I think's gonna happen. I'm gonna go number 1 Georgia, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Cincinnati, number 4 Alabama.
Okay.
I still think they find a way to put Alabama in. I think Georgia Alabama is gonna be a very close game. Too close to the point where they say this could have went either way. We're keeping Bama in.
All right, and then I'll agree with you up until that 4th spot. I'll give it to Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State can beat Baylor, and if that's the case, they're a 1-loss team. They won a conference championship. even though Bama's a better team, I think you got to put in Oklahoma State.
If Oklahoma State wins, Bama loses, I'm all for that happening. I'd be perfectly fine with that, and that would just set up for a Georgia-Michigan final.
Yeah. So
that'd be cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to watch football this weekend. But now we head on over to talk about the NFL a little bit. I think we might as well start with Cincinnati. Looking real good. Absolutely dominated the Steelers. I was out on the road today doing a little DoorDashing, and Dwayne, who I used to work with at Panera, he DoorDashes as well. He's a Steelers fan.
Oh, gross.
I got to see him today. Got to talk to him a little bit.
My God.
So it was a lot of fun. But blowing out the Steelers in both games this year, absolutely pumped for that. Currently ranked 7 in the power rankings the NFL just put out. So that's super exciting as well. I'm still a little bit worried, though. Like, I'm more confident after this game than I was the Raiders game. But still, there's some worry that, like, okay, we got to keep this going. We can't have any Browns games like we did in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I have faith in this Bengals team. I think that as long as things keep rolling, things stay stay healthy. Joe Mixon's looking great. Joe Burrow is obviously an elite quarterback. I think this team has a legitimate chance to make the playoffs, and I really hope they do, because one of us might as well be happy, right?
Absolutely. And when we're looking at the playoff picture, I believe right now the San Francisco 49ers at 5-6 are that last spot. I think they jumped the Vikings.
The NFC's in a weird spot right now. I think it's going to all be fixed by time season ends, but it's in a weird spot right now. The AFC is a little bit deeper at the moment, where the NFC is, a little top-loaded and then falls off.
Yeah. And going over to that 49ers team, been pretty hot recently, thanks to Jimmy Garoppolo. Last 5 games, over a 100 QBR. I want to ask 2 questions. One, are we going to see Trey Lance at all this year as like an actual starter again? And then 2, what are we thinking about Shanahan? He's now won a couple games. Now that the team's a little bit healthier, he's ripping off some games. He's in the playoff hunt right now.
Got to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, then we'll start with Kyle Shanahan. Then he can keep his job, and I'm fine with that. If they get to a point where they drop another game or 2, then Trey Lance is going to start at some point at the end of the year, regardless of Jimmy G does. If they're out of playoffs in week 17 or 18, he might play both those games. He would for sure play in week 18. Like, you got to play your third overall pick at that point. So if they can win out, Jimmy G is going to hold that job. Shanahan's going to hold his job. Everything's going to be, sunshine and rainbows. But I can't imagine them winning out, to be honest. I can't imagine winning the next 6 games for them. I think they're bound to slip up at least one place somewhere. And at that point, 10-7, you still should be a playoff team in the NFC, but there's a chance that things kind of round out.
I think they can go 9-8 and still make it. Like, there are so many teams that are better than what their record shows, and I think they're one of them. And I don't know. The NFL has been so weird this year. We've seen the Bills lose to the Jags. We've seen the Jets beat the Titans and the Bengals. The NFL has been so crazy that I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if 9-8 makes it in the NFC.
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
I think if they don't win out and they make it, they're perfectly fine. What do we do with Jimmy G this offseason if they make it to the playoffs? Have
trade
themselves a little run.
You trade him for great value. If he plays that well, you have to play Trey Lance. You can't take this guy who's got all these tools and just not play him, especially at third overall. You trade Jimmy G to the Saints, you get a first-round pick plus another roster player in return, and you come out as major victors, and the Saints don't have to worry about quarterback.
Alrighty. There it is.
Does that sound bad?
No, but at the same time, if Jimmy G is like the reason that the 49ers make it to the playoffs and do well,
I don't think he's the sole reason. He certainly won't be the reason that they're going to continue to have success over the years. Let's see how they do without Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel has been incredibly impactful for this team.
All right. And then you recently talked to me privately and said you're on the Patriots bandwagon now. Not on the bandwagon, but you've come to realize that, okay, this Patriots team is better than I thought.
Yeah. I just didn't have a whole lot of faith just because things are just so like wonky there, but Mac Jones is doing things the right way, the offense doing things the right way, and the defense is playing the best unit in the league. So you can't really deny that anymore.
And then the Rams on a 3-game skid.
Lions are better. Lions are 0-1 this month. Rams are 0-3. Lions are better.
So tough there. And then finally, just wanted to talk about the Green Bay Packers. Best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
Somehow. They have holes. They have multiple holes. Like
they have so many injuries and they're still winning. They're
rece-
without Jair Alexander.
Their receiver core is not very good. Their DB core is not very good. They've got injuries in the running back backfield. Aaron Rodgers is playing injured. The linebackers have some talent, but they're not like incredibly deep. The defensive line is kind of the same thing. It's got some talent, but not incredibly deep. But they still seem like they're the best team in the NFC, or at least probably in the whole league. It's weird.
Yeah, super weird, but hey, Aaron Rodgers getting it done. At this point, if you're Aaron Rodgers, I know you just agreed to staying on for one more year, but you don't want to be in Green Bay forever. You want to move on. If Green Bay can actually do something they haven't done since, 2011, and actually make the Super Bowl, what are you thinking if you're Aaron Rodgers?
I think he's gone regardless. I think if he wins the Super Bowl, that's just walking off into the sunset, going somewhere else and doing what Tom Brady's doing. I think that's exactly what is going to happen. I think he's gone no matter what the hell happens.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's go over to our picks now. We didn't have an episode this past week, so you don't know how we did in week 11. Let me just tell you real quick.
That's okay.
Graham, he went 11-4, did the best out of all of us, and took the lead. Chase lost his lead a little bit. He was then in third, tied with me. Johnny was in second, Chris Garrett in last. When we look at this past week, you had a tough one.
We don't really care about this. Like you rigged it. I don't know what you want me to do.
So
you want to fudge my answers.
Chase on all of Sunday, so through the 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, and the night game, he got 2 correct.
Yeah.
2. Chase, do I need to play this for you?
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know, and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand what it's like to be me. Okay. My struggles.
I went 10-5 this week. I actually won this week.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. So happy for you.
First time that I've won a week, I think all year, honestly. Because I think it was you, and then Johnny took over. Garrett had a week or two. So I think, this is the first time I've won a week. And because of that, it slingshots me tied in first with Johnny with 109 wins. Graham, 108. Chase, 104. Garrett, 101. Chris sitting nicely in that last place spot, only 100.
Like 3 of those names know football. Me, you, and Johnny. Like why is Graham above me?
Look in the camera and tell him.
Graham, I'm looking at you.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we got some picks to make this week. You are 5 games back from first place.
Making it all up here. All off the board.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 weeks ago you had a 5-game lead on everyone, but...
Ha!
Let's do it here. All right, first up, Thursday night game. Dallas at New Orleans. New Orleans, a 4-point underdog.
The Cowboys come out with a safe win in this bad boy.
I'm a little bit nervous about the Cowboys. Without Amari Cooper, Dak hasn't really been great. And they dropped a big one against Vegas on Thanksgiving.
Amari's about to be back, though. Amari's able to play again this week. So
Same with CD?
I don't know about CD. He's got a pass concussion protocol, so concussions are weird. But I'm going to assume that at least Amari will be back. And that's enough where it's going to make too much of an overwhelming difference in the Saints.
All right, well, I'll go Dallas too, just in case that doesn't pan out, whatever. If you go down, I go down with you.
There you go.
If you win, I win as well. There'll be no gap split in there. So
there you go, you noob
keep
loser.
it safe. Next up, Minnesota at Detroit. Minnesota, a 7-point favorite.
Minnesota covers. Alexander Madison's going to have 3 touchdowns.
When are the Lions getting their first win?
Falcons, the only chance they have to win. Falcons are the only chance they have to win. And I don't feel very good about that.
Okay. I'm going Minnesota as well, no surprise.
Yeah.
Arizona at Chicago. Arizona, 7-point favorite. Don't know if Nuke's going to be in.
That doesn't matter.
Kyler played a little banged up.
It doesn't matter. Like The Cardinals and the Bears are in different stratospheres. The Cardinals are winning this one.
Tampa at Atlanta. I agree, obviously, with that one. Tampa at Atlanta. Tampa in 11-point favorites.
Change the team name, same conversation. Tampa's in a different stratosphere than Atlanta.
Indy at Houston. Indy an 8.5-point favorite.
3 for 3. Same conversation.
Yeah, these really are not close games.
Yeah, the Colts have a free win here. Jonathan Taylor about to go dummy.
How about this one? Philadelphia. They just put up an absolute stinker this past week, going up against the Jets, who upset the Houston Texans.
The Red Hot Jets.
The Red Hot Jets. 1-game win streak, red hot.
I'm guessing the Jets are favored in this one, not by much.
No, Philly's favored.
Really?
By 7.
By 7?
By 7.
By 7.
A whole touchdown.
On the road.
And an extra point.
On the road.
Yep.
Well, the Jets will cover. I'll tell you that. And I'll take the Jets to win, too.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to go with Philly. I'm going to go with the safe pick. I went out on a limb last week, took New York. That's the only reason I actually came away with that week. But I don't know. It's just you got 2 turnover-heavy quarterbacks. Yeah, I think I got to go Philly. Let's go.
That's fair.
Let's go the game that should be the Sunday night game. However, it was not flexed to the Sunday night game.
Triggered.
That's the LA Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Who doesn't want to see Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow in primetime? You'd rather see Teddy Bridgewater and trash Mahomes? Because that's how he's been playing this year.
This is going to be a good one, too.
It is.
I
can't wait.
I might be going to the Lions game, so I'm going to be able to watch this one.
You know who I'm going? Right there.
Bengals.
Right there. That's who I'm going. The Cincinnati Bengals. It's just that the Chargers, they've got the worst rushing defense in the league right now. The absolute worst. And I think they are the 29th ranked defense when it comes to points allowed. And Cincinnati, their past couple of games, they have been running the hell out of Joe Mixon. So I think Joe Mixon, he'll have a fun game. And if LA decides, let's just try to stack the box a little bit, Jamar and T. Higgins are running right by you. So
yep, I agree. I'm going black jersey Bengals because they're wearing blacks this game. I'm calling it. They're wearing blacks, and they are going to come out with. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. I do have the Bengals come out this one though.
Did you see Jamar's fit this past weekend? They had the orange jerseys, the black pants, and then he had very high orange socks.
Yeah,
so clean.
Clean.
All right, New York, the Giants at Miami.
Hottest team in the league.
Second, New England.
The Lions.
Oh. Miami's been very good. Brian Flores and that defense have turned this thing around. This might be a hot take. Over the past month, Tua's been a better quarterback than Justin Herbert.
That's a hot take.
It's a bit of a hot take, but Tua's playing really well right now.
Tua's finally playing better.
Justin Herbert's still a good quarterback, but he's had some mistakes recently. And so that's why I would just say that this Chargers team on a little bit of a dip, Miami, a little bit of a rise. Same with the 2 quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, a little bit of a dip. Tua, a little bit of a rise.
Yeah, I can understand it. But in this game, I gotta go Miami. Like I can't pick against this team anymore. They're trending too strongly in the right direction.
Absolutely agree. Next up, the Washington football team. They travel over to Viva Las Vegas. The Raiders favored 2.5 points.
The Raiders are winning this one. It should be a good game, though, actually.
I think it will be. I kind of want to go the football team.
Go the football team.
Because the defense looks pretty good against Seattle, but maybe that's just because
Russ sucks.
Either Russ is still hurt and he is just not doing well. Like, he looks terrible. But that offensive line, how many times did Russ get to stand still for at least a second?
Their offensive line's been bad ever since he's entered the NFL. Like, it's been so bad. He's never gotten support. They've never drafted the support for him.
Legit, the last 2 minutes of that game when they were trying to make that run to tie up the game, it was so bad. Like, Russ just immediately surrounded.
Well, this is something I wanted to bring up, actually, but completely forgot. It's time for Seattle to fire Pete Carroll, trade Russell Wilson, and rebuild, because this team is past their ceiling. Like, this team's ceiling was 3 years ago. They're not getting any better. They're only getting worse. Things are just piling on. Like, it's Pete Carroll needs to just he needs to agree to part ways, just retire. He's old, be done. Russ wants to leave anyway. The rumors are, so let him go elsewhere. Let's get a new quarterback in. You could bring in a veteran for a year or two, see if he can do things right, and then try to draft quarterback in the future. But things got to change there.
Russ over to
Denver.
Detroit.
Ooh. Let's see, Rodgers or Russ, either one of them to Denver. I'd prefer Russ in Denver, to be honest.
Russ to Denver, Rodgers to Detroit. Okay,
I'd become a Rodgers fan, but legitimately, if Rodgers can, if the Saints don't work out a deal with Jimmy G, Rodgers can go down to New Orleans.
Okay, I decided I'm going Las Vegas.
Okay,
so yeah, sorry,
noob.
Jacksonville at the Rams. I'll tell you right now, I'm going the Rams. If you want to try to make up that difference, you can do it here with Jacksonville.
I'm okay. Thank you.
The Rams a 13-point favorite. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Baltimore is only a 3-point favorite in this one.
Baltimore's going to win because the Steelers suck.
I agree. Joe Burrow, best quarterback in the AFC North right now?
Yeah, just that last game after Lamar. If Lamar didn't throw 4 interceptions last game, I'd say Lamar. But just the recency, because you're saying right now, you got to look at what just happened. The 4 interceptions hurts him a little bit.
And Joe Burrow was the highest graded quarterback this past week.
He's playing great.
So, San Francisco at Seattle. We come back to Seattle here. San Francisco, a 2.5-point favorite. San Francisco's been really weird getting these crazy odds. But when we look back at it, so let's see. Was it week 10 where they had a crazy? Yeah, they were only L.A., the Rams, were only favored to beat San Francisco by 4. We were like, what the hell? Only 4 points? Sure enough, San Francisco won.
Yeah.
And then last week, similar thing. San Francisco favored by 3.5 against Minnesota. I'm thinking, are you shitting me? Minnesota's been really good. They just beat Green Bay. Why would I bet on that? San Francisco won again.
Yeah. And I got to take San Francisco here. The Seahawks, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. I genuinely think they max out of 5 wins this year, the way things look.
Big game coming from Jimmy Garoppolo, top 5 quarterback in the league to end the season.
Big game coming from Elijah Mitchell because RB1 Deebo Samuel is now injured. Did you see he had 1 catch last game but had over 20 fantasy points?
I saw that he had a big run.
He had 6 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
He might be a top 10 running back in the league, and he's not even a running back. Legitimately, he runs the ball incredibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch.
I'm just waiting for him to take Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance's job. And Kittle's job.
Deebo just do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Just have 6 Deebos on the field.
I think it'd work out.
It'd be great.
Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City, a 10-point favorite here. This one's a sneaky one.
It's a sneaky Chiefs win because the Chiefs are playing so much better last month.
Could be a sneaky upset.
Choose the Broncos.
No.
Exactly. the Chiefs have been playing way better these last couple weeks. Can't choose against them.
It's in Kansas City, and I think that could be a sneaky win from Denver, especially because Patrick Surtain last week against the Chargers, he showed up 2 interceptions against Justin Herbert late in the game to seal it. So that was a lot of fun. Monday night game, a big one. New England at Buffalo. Buffalo, a 3-point favorite. This is for the lead in the division. Currently, New England has it sitting at 8-4. Buffalo is 7-4. What are we thinking?
If New England was playing any other team, pretty much, I would take them this week. But I'm going Buffalo at home. In the month of December, I know New England, they play in cold weather too, but Bills Mafia is a different breed in December. That's a tough environment to play in as an away team. And Josh Allen is ready to roll. He's had the couple games where he started slow these last few weeks, and then he's always turning on at the end. I really feel like he's ready to just explode and have a really dominant stretch. It might wear out by the time playoffs comes and they flop in playoffs, but I feel like that dominant stretch is right there. And once the first game happens, it's going to be 4 straight games. And I think it could start this week.
I think that this week, Josh Allen is going to come out looking like Lamar Jackson of last week. New England's defense is going to shut Buffalo down. Give me New England all day long,
We're
baby.
Very opposite ends here. I like this.
We are. So,
I like this.
Also, I don't have my phone.
You wiener.
Maybe it's here. My phone's right there. Hi, phone. Maybe I have it in my messages app on the computer. Chris, he got me his picks. very early this week. Very surprised by that.
Oh, he didn't miss a pick like the other week?
Right. He's going Buffalo.
Smart man.
So there we go.
Smart man.
Yeah. Continue to call the guy who's in dead last smart. I like it.
Yeah, I am. He's a smart, nice, young, old man.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the old.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. We want to thank you so much for coming out and listening, unless you had something to say.
Nope.
I want to thank you so much for coming out and listening. If you could please give us, and this is if you're on YouTube, if you could please give us a like, comment, subscribe. We would love that. Comment down below what you think the college football playoffs are going to look like at the end of this week. Make sure to get it in before the games, though. Don't be coming in on Sunday and being like, oh, I think this is going to happen. Like, obviously, you know what's going to happen. But give us your predictions down there in the comments, as well as hit that bell to turn on notifications. If you're listening on a podcast platform, if you could please give us if you could please give us a follow and a 5-star rating, we would really appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming out. And as always, we're not professionals.